Once upon a time, a great monk lay on his deathbed, surrounded by his disciples. As his breath grew shallow, he whispered his final words to his chosen successor, a young monk with a bright future. "Remember one thing," the old monk said, his voice barely audible. "Never allow a cat into your life." And with that, he closed his eyes and passed away. The crowd that had gathered to hear the revered monk's last words was stunned. A cat? Why would such a wise man utter something so peculiar with his dying breath? The successor monk was puzzled. What did the master mean by a cat? Was there some hidden wisdom behind those words? Despite the solemn rituals of cremation and mourning, the young monk couldn't shake off the mystery. Determined to uncover the truth, he approached an elderly monk who had been the master's companion for many years. "You look troubled, my friend," the old monk said. "What's on your mind?" The young monk explained his confusion. "Why did our master warn me about a cat? It doesn't make any sense." The elderly monk chuckled softly. "There's a long story behind it. Sit down and I will tell you. Years ago, when our master was still a young monk, he left his home, renouncing his family and worldly possessions. He retreated deep into the forest, seeking peace and enlightenment. The villagers nearby respected him greatly. They built him a small bamboo cottage and brought him food. The monk lived a simple life, with only 2 robes to his name. But soon, trouble arose. Rats invaded the cottage, chewing through his clothes. The monk was distressed. He had so little, and now even that was being destroyed. He turned to the villagers for advice. "Why don't you keep a cat?" they suggested. "It will keep the rats away." It seemed like a perfect solution. The villagers gifted him a cat, and the monk's troubles seemed to vanish. But new problems soon emerged. The cat needed milk. The monk found himself making daily trips to the village to beg for milk, which disrupted his meditation. Concerned, the villagers offered another suggestion. "Why not keep a cow? You'll have plenty of milk for yourself and the cat." The idea made sense, so the monk accepted a cow from the villagers. But cows need grass and care. The monk spent more time tending to the cow than meditating. The villagers, seeing his struggle, came up with another solution. "There's a widow in our village. She has no one to care for. If we persuade her to help you, she can look after the cow and even grow crops for you." The monk agreed. The widow moved into a small house beside the monk's cottage and began helping him with his daily chores. At first, it was purely practical, but as time passed, they grew closer. The monk, once devoted to his spiritual path, found himself entangled in worldly life again. He and the widow fell in love, and soon they had a child. One day, as he held his child in his arms, the monk realized the irony of his situation. "What have I done? I renounced the world to seek enlightenment. Yet here I am back in the very life I left behind. And all this because of a cat." The old monk finished his story with a smile. Our master's final words were a warning. The cat represents those small, seemingly harmless decisions that lead us astray. He leaned closer. In life, we often allow our minds a little indulgence, thinking it won't hurt. But one small compromise leads to another, and before we know it, we're far from where we intended to be. The young monk nodded, his heart heavy with understanding. He vowed to remain vigilant, never allowing small distractions to steer him away from his path. In life, we often think, just this once, or it's not a big deal. But small choices add up. Whether it's a bad habit, a temptation, or a distraction, these little cats can quietly take over our lives if we're not careful. Remember, never give your mind too much leverage. Stay mindful, stay focused, and always keep your purpose in sight.